Hello and welcome to my new art series. Essentially, I'm going to draw or paint or do some otherwise creative thing. I'm going to chat away and answer your questions, and you can watch me do it. I find these videos are best enjoyed with a cup of tea or your own arty project to work on. Before I get started answering your questions, I want to give a few disclaimers. 1, I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice sounds a bit weird and I might burst into a coughing fit at any moment. 2, I'm new to this, so the format might be a bit weird, and also the pressure of having a camera on me makes me a little bit nervous. And 3, as you know, I am not a professional artist in any way. I know that making art videos makes it look like I think I'm some kind of authority on art, but I don't know what I'm doing, and therefore any advice I give you might want to take with a grain of salt, because it's probably gonna be wrong. Today I'm painting a mountain sunset scene because my lovely friend James sent me some photos that he took in Mallorca and said that they reminded him of my painting style, which I thought was very sweet and lovely, so this one's for you, James. Oh, and another disclaimer, don't expect this to be a beautiful work of art. Like I say, I'm new to this, so this is a sort of test run, I guess. Once I get used to having a camera on me and talking while I work, which I don't normally do, I am sure these videos will get better and my art will get better, but for the moment I am essentially just a scared little kid. In case you're interested, I'm working with gouache paint today because it's easy. It kind of works like watercolour, it kind of layers like acrylic, which means it's easy to fix your mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to start answering some of your questions. I asked people on Instagram and Twitter to give me their questions, so if you missed that, you should go and follow me. Maya asks, what do you really like about your own art? This is honestly such a hard question to answer, and I guess my answer to it is what I like about art in general anyway. I don't always achieve it, I really don't always achieve it, but when I do, my favourite thing about my art is when I can capture a likeness of something without it actually being realistic. I think photorealistic art is super impressive and requires a lot more patience than I will ever have. There is so much skill involved, and I am not hating on people who do photorealistic art, but my favourite kind of art is art that looks like a painting or a drawing or whatever the medium is. Jazz asks, what are your favourite things to paint? If you asked me this question 6 months ago, I would have definitely said portraits, but now it's plants. Oh my god, I love painting plants. It's actually quite convenient because my dad's a gardener, so I have a whole garden full of creative inspiration. Actually, my favourite painting that I've ever done was a portrait of my dad in the garden surrounded by plants. So that is my dream. That's just everything I ever want to paint. I'm realising now that I definitely should have taped this down, because I am getting my fingers covered in paint. I find it quite funny when I watch other artists on YouTube and they have beautifully manicured nails and I just have paint covered, boring, just messy hands. Messy everything. I mean, look at my palette, it's horrible, it's absolutely horrible. I think maybe that's why I got into art, just to give me an excuse to make a big old mess. Sam has asked, what is your favourite medium and why? This is another tricky question to answer, for several reasons. 1, I'm indecisive and can never make my mind up about anything, so choosing a favourite medium is pretty difficult. And 2, I'm not very experienced, like I've said, so I don't know if I can conclusively say that something is my favourite medium. I definitely know that I like painting best, but I have no idea what my favourite kind of paint is. Probably not watercolour, just because I find it so difficult, but I do love the effects you can get with watercolour. Gouache is nice because you can get those effects while being able to layer it a bit. Oil paints are nice because you can just layer them loads, but you do also have to wait ages for the layers to dry, and I'm impatient. but you do end up with a very nice texture. I guess I'd probably say acrylic was my favourite just because you can do all of those things with it. It doesn't work quite like watercolour, but you can water it down a lot and do thin layers, or you can build it up a lot, which is fun. I like doing that. So in conclusion, I don't really know, but I'd probably say acrylic if I had to choose one. And now we move on to a very important question. Do I like pineapple on pizza? To which the answer is no, absolutely not. I love pineapple. I love pizza. You don't need to put them together. They're fine as they are. And I just really don't understand the whole pineapple with cheese thing. Like, you know, as a kid when you'd go to a party and you'd have those cocktail sticks that had cheese and pineapple on. So the pineapple would taste like cheese and the cheese would taste like pineapple, but only slightly. Only enough to just completely throw you off. Horrible, just not nice. Why would you contaminate good things? Will asks, what made you want to start doing art? There was never really a point where I consciously decided to start doing art. I have literally done it all my life. I'm pretty sure as soon as I could pick up a paintbrush, I have been painting and leaving mess in my wake. Painting is pretty much the one hobby in my life that I never get bored of. I find it simultaneously so therapeutic and so exciting. Like when you can finally see your piece coming together, it's wonderful. Izzy asks, what creatively inspires you? This is a very broad question and also a very difficult one to answer because inspiration comes at really weird times, normally in the middle of the night when you can do nothing about it. I definitely find that consuming other people's art really helps. Like I say, I really enjoy watching other people's art videos and doing my own arty stuff while I watch. There's something about having someone else doing a creative thing while you're doing a creative thing that just makes it a lot easier and a lot nicer. I also find that I feel a lot more inspired on sunny days. Maybe it's just because I like painting plants, but when I can sit outside and paint, I just feel a lot better and a lot more inspired and clear-headed. And also, if I'm feeling really uninspired, I have a no-pressure sketchbook, which I will make a mess in. I'll just make marks, I'll do scribbles, I'll do tiny little studies of things. It just really helps to get over the fear of putting something down. I've been asked what the weakest aspect of my art is, and how I plan on addressing it. That's a really good and interesting question. I would absolutely say precision and accuracy. I think probably the reason I like painting plants so much is that if you just put a load of green in various shapes, you will get something that looks like plants. I'm really weak at drawing buildings because they require a lot of accuracy. Architecture would definitely not be for me. My camera is really annoying and only records 12 minutes of video at a time, so I have no idea where it cut me off answering that question. Precision is what I'm bad at, that's what I need to improve. Also just my general drawing skills, because that is a really good foundation for painting, sculpture, any kind of art. I think I'll do one more question and then I'll just focus on getting this painting finished before my camera cuts out again. Do you think vlogging is art? This is actually a very interesting question. I don't know what the official definition of art is, but presumably it's making something, right? So in that sense, vlogging is art, I suppose. But then again, these days vlogging is just sort of another form of talking, and you wouldn't say that talking is art. But because of the editing process and the act of filming it, does that then make it art? I would probably say, in my own personal opinion, that vlogging isn't art, because it feels a little pretentious to say that it is, especially when there are some vlogs out there that are literally people just talking about their day. But I do think there are some vlogs that would count as art because of the amount of effort that goes into them, although putting effort into something doesn't necessarily mean that it's art, and if someone does a painting that they don't put much effort into, that's still art. I don't know, it's a complicated question, more complicated than you'd imagine. I can see the argument for both sides, but I don't think I would call it art. Okay, that's it for questions. I'm sorry if you asked one and I didn't answer it. That doesn't mean it's not a good question. I'll probably answer your questions in a future video. I just don't want this video to be too long. So I am gonna finish off this painting. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments. And also questions. Give me questions to answer in a future video. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for watching.